Hello folks, welcome to Bitcoin Nobody. Today we're going to talk about the Bitcoin blockchain in real simple terms. The first bit of information I'm going to give you is just the basics from the website bitcoin.org. Yes, I'm going to read it to you. If you're driving, it'll be useful. If not, I'll just include a link in the description so that you can go there on your own and look for things for yourself. As a new user, you can get started with Bitcoin without understanding the technical details. Once you've installed a Bitcoin wallet on your computer or mobile phone, it will generate your first Bitcoin address and you can create more whenever you need one. You can disclose your addresses to your friends so that they can pay you or vice versa. In fact, this is pretty similar to how email works, except that Bitcoin addresses should be used only once. The blockchain is a shared public ledger on which the entire Bitcoin network relies. All confirmed transactions are included in the blockchain. It allows Bitcoin wallets to calculate their spendable balance so that new transactions can be verified, thereby ensuring they're actually owned by the spender. The integrity and the chronological order of the blockchain are enforced with cryptography. A transaction is a transfer of value between Bitcoin wallets. They get included in the blockchain. Bitcoin wallets keep a secret piece of data called a private key, or seed, which is used to sign transactions, providing a mathematical proof that they have come from the owner of the wallet. The signature also prevents the transaction from being altered by anyone once it has been issued. All transactions are broadcast to the network and usually begin to be confirmed within 10 to 20 minutes through a process called mining. Mining is a distributed consensus system that is used to confirm pending transactions by including them in the blockchain. It enforces a chronological order in the blockchain, protects the neutrality of the network, and allows different computers to agree on the state of the system. To be confirmed, the transactions must be packed in a block that fits strict cryptographic rules that will be verified by the network. These rules prevent previous blocks from being modified because doing so would invalidate the subsequent blocks. Mining also creates the equivalent of a competitive lottery that prevents any individual from easily adding new blocks consecutively to the blockchain. In this way, no group or individuals can control what is included in the blockchain or replace parts of the blockchain to roll back their own spends. Long story short, Bitcoin it's hard to replicate. It's called a 51% attack on the blockchain. I've mentioned that before. It would be difficult to do given the amount of Bitcoin miners that are in the world today. Maybe it would have been possible maybe at the birth or very beginning of Bitcoin, but not anymore. There's just too many to overcome. This is tradeblock.com. This next webpage I'm showing you, this is the living, breathing Bitcoin network. You can see it. We got transactions down here in the lower right that are waiting to be confirmed. And you can see the addresses. Those represent individuals. These are blocks right here. The bigger the square, the bigger the block. And we got specific data on the block. The number of the block, which is at the top, the date and time it was created. If the miner is known, their name, the number of transactions that blockchain or that particular block confirmed, the value of that block, all the Bitcoins added up, and any fees that the miner was rewarded for confirming that block. So we can see that we've got these horizontal lines in between that represents the length between the blocks. We got some smaller blocks right here. These columns represent the number of transactions and their value. You can just click on this little eye here. You can see some of that information more specifically. But again, this is tradeblock.com. There's another one, btc.com. Again, we're just kind of getting another visual of what's going on the Bitcoin blockchain. We got transactions that are unconfirmed. We can actually see them counting up right here, about in the middle of the screen. We've got our hash rate. We got miners. So everyone's plugged into the Bitcoin blockchain. So it's living, breathing. We can see it for ourselves. So that is something I think very useful to see, at least in action. You don't have to understand it, but you can just see it moving. You can see it counting. You can see the rewards coming out to the Bitcoin miners. It's pretty neat to me. Here we can see the very rudimentary drawing that I have of kind of how the Bitcoin blockchain works. Now, keep in mind, this is pretty high level, and I'm not even claiming I understand everything about the Bitcoin blockchain and how the nitty-gritty of it works. But for a good, 20,000 feet overview of it, this will really help shore up any questions you might have had regarding that. Here we can see the these squares or rectangles representing the blockchain, right? So each chain or each block on the blockchain records the transactions. That's really what's happening. Well, each block in the blockchain is completed at 4 megabytes or roughly 2,700 transactions. Now, is it always exactly that? No, but for our purposes of our discussion today, it is. This gets completed roughly every 10 minutes. And then after that, a miner gets a reward. So we got a block reward down here, 6.25 Bitcoin right now, get rewarded to a miner who completes that block, plus any transactions fees that go along with that. This is one block completed on the Bitcoin blockchain. Roughly 10 minutes later, the next block starts, and whoever finishes that, whatever miner finishes that, gets the block reward. Keep in mind, anybody can be a Bitcoin miner. You just have to set yourself up. I've heard of, usually it's the big boys who have lots and lots of the I'll call them big computers that are winning the block reward just because they have the most hash power. But once in a while, you get a USB miner that, they're doing in a little office like this, and they do get the block reward, which is right now 6.25 Bitcoin. Roughly at a $40,000 price on what's today, March 18th, 2022. That equates to about $250,000. Not a bad day, if that can be you. So as the blockchain goes on and on, we can go back to clear to the first block, the Genesis block, all the way up to today. So I think if we go back to that video I was showing you we're in the 700,000s of the number of blocks that have been mined since the beginning. So roughly 210,000 blocks, not roughly, excuse me, every 210,000 blocks, the mining reward changes. That equates to roughly every 4 years. So the mining reward right now is 6.25 Bitcoin. In 2024, I believe in the beginning of 2024, probably March, April-ish, we're going to have another Bitcoin halving, so you've probably heard of that. And halving is very, very important because the reward gets reduced for the miners, and which is really the amount of Bitcoin going out into the world is getting reduced by half. That's the equivalent of like half the gold being mined by 2024. And then 4 years from that, half the gold being mined again. So the great thing about Bitcoin is it's computer code. We know this is going to happen. So in 2024, the beginning of 2024, their new mining reward will be 3.125 Bitcoin plus transaction fees. So the miners will always get a transaction fee, even when the mining reward goes to zero, which will be approximately in the year 2134. So we move along in time. Another 210,000 blocks are created. We have another Bitcoin halving, which is approximately another 4 years. So the year 2028, we'll have another halving. That new mining reward will be 1.5625 Bitcoin. Now you might be saying, well, Ben, why are you going out so many digits? Because we're only used to, dollars and cents. We're only used to 2 digits. Well, Bitcoin goes out 8 digits after the decimal place. Well, given the facts of supply and demand, and just back to my gold example, if half as much gold gets mined, how much Bitcoin is going to be out into the world, going out into the world every 4 years? It's getting less and less, just as like I was saying with gold. If we knew gold was going to be, half as much gold was going to be mined 4 years from now, or any commodity for that matter, then the demand for it's going to go up because supply is going down. The unique thing about Bitcoin, supply is going to zero. Now, the last Bitcoin will be mined approximately in the year 2134, 2140, well after our lifetimes, unless we find a way to live longer between now and then. So, yeah, it will go to zero, but there will always be the transaction fees that the miners will go after. So theoretically, if demand keeps rising for Bitcoin and supply keeps going down, we're going to get kind of this backwards demand increases, supply going down or going to zero, which has never happened in the history of mankind, where a commodity, where something has gone to zero, then theoretically the demand is infinite. We don't know what it could go to, especially in dollar terms. If Bitcoin takes over the world, it's kind of game over. We're not denominating things in dollars anymore, denominating them in Bitcoin. But like I said, that's probably well after our lifetimes. But what's going to happen between now and then? We're probably going to see great increases in the Bitcoin price every 4 years. Some people might disagree with that, but it's kind of held true up until now, and it doesn't seem to be changing. But we'll see in 2024 what it's like, and in 2028. But that's the blockchain. Please like and subscribe if you'd like to get interviewed. If you think you're a Bitcoin nobody and you understand Bitcoin for what it is and the why of it, I'd love to interview you and have a chat with you. So again, like and subscribe. Thanks for being here today, folks.